Maya Bennett's perfect marriage to prominent real estate developer James Sterling crumbles when she discovers his affair with a socialite and a web of financial fraud. As she uncovers years of betrayal and deception, Maya must find the courage to expose the truth and reclaim her power in New York's elite society. But before we continue with this story, make sure to subscribe and let us know in the comments from which part of the world you're watching today. Maya Bennett stood in front of her bedroom mirror, fixing her hair for what felt like the 100th time. Tonight was supposed to be special, her 5th wedding anniversary with James Sterling, one of New York's most successful real estate developers. She smoothed down her red dress, the one she'd spent 2 months' worth of art sales on, hoping this time James would actually show up for dinner. "Mrs. Sterling," called Maria, their housekeeper, from downstairs. "Mr. Sterling is on the phone for you." Maya's heart sank. She already knew what was coming. Walking down the marble staircase of their mansion, she took the phone from Maria, who gave her a sympathetic look. "James?" Maya said, trying to keep her voice steady. "Honey, I'm so sorry," James started, using that smooth voice that had made her fall in love with him 6 years ago. "The Peterson deal is falling apart. I have to stay late at the office." Maya looked at the dining room, where Maria had set up a beautiful candlelit dinner. "It's our anniversary, James." I know. I'll make it up to you this weekend. We'll go to that little Italian place you love." "You mean the one we haven't been to in 2 years?" Maya couldn't help the bitterness in her voice. "Don't start. Maya, you know how important this deal is. The Petersons are investing $50 million in our new development." Maya walked to the window, looking out at their perfectly manicured lawn. "More important than our anniversary? Than your wife? That's not fair. This lifestyle you enjoy, the house, the cars, the art supplies, it all comes from somewhere. I'm doing this for us." Maya wanted to remind him that she'd fallen in love with him when he was just starting out, working from a tiny office in Brooklyn. Back when they'd eat hot dogs from street vendors and dream about their future together. Back when he wasn't ashamed to be seen with her in public. "Fine," she said. "Will you at least be home tonight?" "Don't wait up," James replied, already sounding distracted. "Love you." The line went dead before Maya could respond. She handed the phone back to Maria, who pretended not to notice the tears in her eyes. "Should I put the food away, Mrs. Sterling?" Maya shook her head. "No. Set a place for yourself, Maria. No sense in letting a good meal go to waste." Maria looked shocked. "Mrs. Sterling, I couldn't—" "Please, Maria, call me Maya. And I insist, it's better than eating alone." Over dinner, Maya found herself opening up to Maria, who had worked for them for 3 years. She talked about how she'd met James at an art gallery where she was showing her work, how he'd been different then, passionate, loving, proud to show her off to the world. Now, she was lucky if he acknowledged her at social events. "He says it's to protect me from gossip," Maya explained, pushing her food around her plate. "But I think he's just ashamed. The great James Sterling, married to a black artist who came from nothing." Maria reached across the table and squeezed her hand. "If he's ashamed, he's a fool, Mrs. Maya. Your paintings are in galleries across the city. People pay thousands for them." Maya smiled sadly. "James used to love that about me. Now he just asks why I bother working when he gives me everything I need." Later that night, Maya sat in her studio looking at her latest painting. It showed a woman trapped in a golden cage reaching for the sky. She'd been working on it for weeks, pouring all her frustration and loneliness into every brushstroke. Her phone buzzed with a text from her best friend, Sarah Chen. "Turn on channel 7 now." Maya grabbed the remote and switched on the TV in her studio. There on the screen was James at some charity gala she hadn't known about, and on his arm was Victoria Carlyle, the daughter of one of his biggest investors. They were laughing together, looking perfectly at ease. Maya's hands shook as she watched Victoria place her hand on James's arm, leaning in close to whisper something in his ear. The camera caught James's smile, the kind of smile he used to give Maya. Another text from Sarah. "I'm so sorry, honey. I thought you should know." Maya walked to her bathroom and splashed cold water on her face. When she looked in the mirror, she hardly recognized herself. Where was the confident artist who'd once told James Sterling he needed to buy her dinner before she'd let him buy one of her paintings? She went back to her studio and stared at the painting of the woman in the golden cage. Taking a deep breath, she picked up her brush and began to paint again. This time she added cracks in the cage's bars. The next morning, Maya woke up to find James's side of the bed still empty. She checked her phone. No messages, no calls. Opening her laptop, she saw more photos from last night's gala plastered across social media. James and Victoria had apparently spent the whole evening together. Maya got dressed and drove to her small gallery in Brooklyn, the one place she still felt like herself. As she unlocked the door, her phone rang. It was James. "Hey honey, sorry about last night. The Peterson deal took forever." Maya looked at a photo from the gala on her phone. "Really? The Peterson deal required you to attend a charity gala with Victoria Carlyle?" There was a long pause. "You saw that? The whole city saw it, James. Why didn't you tell me about the gala?" "I didn't think you'd be comfortable there. You know how these society events can be." "You mean you weren't comfortable bringing your black wife to another high society event?" Maya said, finally voicing what they'd both known for years. "That's not fair, Maya. You're twisting things." "Am I? When was the last time we attended an event together? The last time you proudly introduced me as your wife instead of just rushing us through the room?" "I have meetings all day," James said, his voice cold. "We can discuss this later." Maya looked around her gallery at the paintings that had once brought them together. "Yes, we will discuss this later. All of it." As she hung up, Maya noticed a woman standing in the gallery doorway. She recognized her immediately. Elizabeth Peterson, wife of the investor James, was so desperate to impress. "Mrs. Sterling?" Elizabeth said, stepping inside. "I hope I'm not interrupting. I've been admiring your work for months, and I'd love to discuss commissioning a piece." Maya straightened her shoulders, pushing thoughts of James aside. "Please, come in, and call me Maya." Elizabeth smiled warmly. "Maya it is. You know, I was quite disappointed not to see you at the gala last night. Your husband said you were feeling under the weather." Maya's hand tightened on her phone. Another lie. "Did he? How thoughtful of him to cover for me. Though I must say," Elizabeth continued, studying one of Maya's paintings, "if my husband paraded around all evening with Victoria Carlyle hanging on his arm, I might feel a bit under the weather too." Maya looked at Elizabeth sharply, seeing the knowing look in the older woman's eyes. For the first time in years, Maya felt something spark inside her, not just anger or hurt, but determination. "Mrs. Peterson." "Elizabeth, please." "Elizabeth, I think we have a lot to talk about." Elizabeth Peterson sat across from Maya in the small office at the back of the gallery, stirring her coffee slowly. The morning light filtered through the windows, highlighting the concern on her face. "I've been in your shoes, Maya," Elizabeth said, setting her cup down. 20 years ago, my first husband did the same thing. Started with late nights at the office, charity galas I wasn't invited to, and always with a young, gorgeous woman by his side." Maya's hands trembled slightly as she held her own cup. "What did you do?" "I got smart." Elizabeth pulled out her phone and showed Maya a series of photos. "These were taken last week. Your husband and Victoria leaving the Plaza Hotel. They've been meeting there every Tuesday and Thursday for the past month." Maya felt like she'd been punched in the stomach. The photos showed James and Victoria entering and leaving the hotel, looking comfortable, intimate. In one, his hand rested on the small of Victoria's back, just like he used to do with Maya. "Why are you showing me this?" Maya asked, her voice barely a whisper. "Because my husband is about to invest $50 million in your husband's company, and I want to make sure that money goes to someone worthy of it." Elizabeth leaned forward. "Tell me, Maya, what do you know about your husband's business dealings?" Maya shook her head. "James keeps business and home life separate. Maybe it's time they weren't so separate." Elizabeth pulled out a folder. "These are copies of some interesting documents my husband received from James. The numbers don't add up. There's money missing, being funneled somewhere else. My husband's too excited about the deal to notice, but I've been doing this a long time." Maya stared at the documents, her artist's eye catching the discrepancies in the figures. "Are you saying James is stealing?" "I'm saying your husband has a lot of secrets, and you deserve to know them all before everything falls apart." Just then, Maya's phone buzzed. A text from James. "Coming home early tonight. Want to talk about this morning. Have something important to tell you." Maya showed the message to Elizabeth, who raised an eyebrow. "Interesting timing. What are you going to do?" "I'm going to hear what he has to say." Maya stood up, suddenly feeling stronger than she had in months. "But first, I need copies of everything you have." That evening, Maya sat in their living room, the folder of documents hidden in her studio upstairs. She heard James's key in the door, followed by his footsteps. "Maya?" he called out. "Are you home?" "In here," she answered, keeping her voice steady. James walked in, looking tired but handsome in his expensive suit. He loosened his tie and sat across from her. About this morning, I know you're upset about the gala. Upset doesn't begin to cover it, James. He held up his hands. Let me explain. Victoria's father is thinking of doubling his investment. She's been helping smooth things over, making sure he sees the potential in our projects. Is that what you call it? Maya stood up, pacing the room. Smoothing things over? What's that supposed to mean? It means I know about the Plaza Hotel, James, every Tuesday and Thursday for the past month. James's face went pale. Who told you? Does it matter? What matters is you've been lying to me, hiding things from me. It's not what you think, James started, but Maya cut him off. Then what is it? Because from where I'm standing, it looks like my husband is having an affair and possibly stealing from his investors. James shot to his feet. Keep your voice down, the staff will hear you. Let them hear. I'm done being quiet, James. Done pretending everything is perfect while you destroy our marriage. I'm trying to build something here, Maya. Something bigger than us. Victoria understands that. And what about the missing money? Does she understand that too? James's face hardened. You've been poking around in my business affairs? Someone had to. You certainly weren't going to tell me the truth. My business is none of your concern, James snapped. You're my wife, not my accountant. No, I'm the fool who believed in you, who supported you when you were nothing but a dream and a tiny office in Brooklyn. Maya felt tears streaming down her face. What happened to that man? The one who loved me, who was proud to have me on his arm. James's expression softened slightly. I still love you, Maya, but things are complicated now. The society we move in? The society we move in? Maya laughed bitterly. You mean the society you move in? The one you've been hiding me from because you're ashamed of having a black wife who doesn't fit your perfect image. That's not fair. No, what's not fair is finding out from strangers that my husband is cheating on me. What's not fair is discovering financial documents that show you might be stealing from your investors. James stepped closer, his voice low and dangerous. Where are these documents? Safe away from you. Maya met his gaze. I may be just your inconvenient wife, James, but I'm not stupid. You're threatening me? James's laugh was cold. With what? No one will believe you over me. You're just an artist who got lucky marrying rich. The words hit Maya like slaps, but she stood her ground. Maybe, but I wonder what Victoria's father would believe if he saw these numbers. Or the press. James's face turned red with anger. You wouldn't dare. Try me. Maya walked to the door, then turned back. Oh, and James? I'm done eating dinner. Alone. Done making excuses for you. Done being your dirty little secret. Maya, wait, James called after her, his voice suddenly uncertain. We can talk about this. But Maya was already climbing the stairs to her studio, her heart pounding, but her mind clear for the first time in years. She had decisions to make, and she wasn't going to let fear stop her anymore. In her studio, she looked at her painting of the woman in the golden cage. Taking out her brushes, she began to add something new, a key held firmly in the woman's hand. Her phone buzzed again. A text from Elizabeth. How did it go? Maya typed back. Exactly as expected. He showed his true colors. Time for plan B? Elizabeth's response came quickly. Tomorrow, 10 a.m. My office. Bring everything. Maya put down her phone and walked to the window, looking out at the city lights. Somewhere out there, James was probably calling Victoria, warning her, making plans. But for the first time in years, Maya felt like she was finally taking control of her own story. In her pocket, her phone buzzed one more time. A message from Sarah. Just saw James and Victoria going into the plaza. Want me to get more pictures? Maya smiled. Get everything you can. It's time to show the world who James Sterling really is. Maya arrived at Elizabeth Peterson's office exactly at 10 a.m. the next morning. The Peterson Group occupied the entire top floor of a sleek Manhattan building with views that stretched across Central Park. Elizabeth's secretary immediately showed her in. You look like you haven't slept, Elizabeth said, gesturing for Maya to sit down. Hard to sleep when you discover your whole marriage is a lie. Maya placed the folder of documents on Elizabeth's desk. But I'm ready to do what needs to be done, Elizabeth smiled. Good, because we're not just going to expose James's affair, we're going to take everything from him. Maya's heart raced. Everything? The company, the reputation, the social standing he values so much. Elizabeth pressed a button on her phone. Send them in. The door opened and 3 people walked in. Maya recognized Sarah, her best friend, but the other 2 were strangers. Maya, meet David Chen, the best forensic accountant in New York. Elizabeth said, pointing to a serious-looking man in glasses. "And this is Rachel Martinez, a reporter from the Daily Observer." Sarah rushed over to hug Maya. "I got more pictures last night. James and Victoria had quite the romantic dinner at the plaza." Rachel Martinez pulled out a recorder. "Mrs. Sterling, I've been investigating your husband's business dealings for the past 6 months, but I need your help to break this story." Maya looked at the group. "Why are you all helping me?" Elizabeth leaned forward. "Because James Sterling has hurt a lot of people climbing to the top. It's time someone knocked him down." For the next 2 hours, they laid out their plan. David Chen explained how James had been embezzling money from his investors, hiding it in offshore accounts. "The numbers don't lie," David said, pointing to his laptop screen. "He's stolen close to $30 million. Rachel added, "And that's just what we can prove. There's probably more." "But why now?" Maya asked. "Well, why help me expose him?" Elizabeth's face darkened. "Because the Peterson deal isn't just about money. James is planning to use it to push out all his original investors, including people who helped him start his company, people who believed in him. Like my father," Sarah added quietly. "Remember how James got his start? My dad gave him his first real investment. Now James is trying to force him out, take everything." Maya felt sick. She remembered those early days when James would come to dinner at Sarah's parents' house, promising to make them all rich. "I had no idea." "Of course you didn't," Elizabeth said gently. "James has been very careful to keep his business and personal lives separate, but that ends now." Rachel opened her notebook. "We need your story, Mrs. Sterling. The society wife, hidden away while her husband parades around with his mistress. The racial angle alone will grab headlines." Maya shook her head. "This isn't about race. It's about right and wrong." "It's about both," Elizabeth insisted. "James used you, Maya. Used your talent and beauty to seem progressive and artistic when he was starting out, then hid you away when he thought you didn't fit his new image." Sarah squeezed Maya's hand. "Tell them about the gallery opening." "Last year." Maya took a deep breath. "James was supposed to attend my biggest show yet. Collectors from all over the country were there, but he never showed up. Sent Victoria instead, to represent the Sterling family's interests." Rachel scribbled quickly. "And how did that make you feel? Like I was something to be ashamed of? An embarrassment?" Maya stood up and walked to the window. "I've spent years dimming my light to make him comfortable. No more." Elizabeth joined her at the window. "The annual Sterling Foundation Gala is in 3 days. Every important person in New York will be there." Maya turned. "James told me it was cancelled this year." "Another lie," Sarah said. "He's taking Victoria. They've been planning it for months." "It's the perfect opportunity," Rachel added. "We released the story that morning. Your interview, the financial documents, the photos of James and Victoria. Then you show up at the gala." Maya imagined it, walking into that ballroom, facing James and Victoria in front of everyone. "He'll try to stop me." "Let him try," Elizabeth said firmly. "My husband and I will be there to support you. So will Sarah's family, and every other investor James has betrayed." David cleared his throat. "There's something else you should know, Mrs. Sterling. The prenup you signed. It has a morality clause. If James is found to be having an affair, I get half of everything," Maya finished. She'd read that contract carefully before signing it, even though James had insisted it was just a formality. "Not just half," David corrected. "The clause specifically states that in case of infidelity, the wronged party gets control of all arts-related investments, including the Sterling Gallery Group," Maya whispered. "The chain of high-end galleries James had bought last year, saying it was an anniversary gift to her. She'd never been allowed to have any input in their management. 6 galleries across the country," Elizabeth confirmed, "worth about $40 million. Maya sat back down, her mind racing. "So, when this story breaks, you'll not only expose James's affair and financial crimes," Rachel said, "but you'll also become one of the most powerful gallery owners in New York." Sarah grinned. "Poetic justice, don't you think?" Maya looked at the group around her. "Why do I feel like you've all been planning this for a while?" "Let's just say we've been waiting for you to be ready," Elizabeth answered. "James Sterling isn't the only one who knows how to play the long game." Maya's phone buzzed. A text from James. "Where are you? We need to talk about last night." "He's getting nervous," Maya said, showing them the message. "Good," Elizabeth replied. "Let him sweat. For the next 3 days, you need to act normal. Go home, listen to his excuses, pretend you're willing to work things out." Rachel stood up. "I'll have the story ready for publication the morning of the gala. Mrs. Sterling, I'll need a formal interview." "Call me Maya," she said. And yes, I'll tell you everything. Remember, Elizabeth warned, James can't suspect anything. He needs to think he's won, that you're too afraid to challenge him. Maya thought of all the nights she'd spent alone, all the times she'd swallowed her pride and smiled for the cameras. Don't worry, I've had years of practice pretending everything is fine. As they wrapped up the meeting, Sarah pulled Maya aside. Are you sure you want to do this? Once it starts, there's no going back. Maya looked at her friend. I've spent 5 years going backwards, Sarah. It's time to move forward. That night, Maya returned home to find James waiting in her studio. He was looking at her painting of the woman in the golden cage, now complete with the key in her hand. Interesting addition, he said, not turning around. Are you trying to tell me something? Maya kept her voice calm, remembering Elizabeth's warning. Just expressing myself. Isn't that what you always say my art is for? James turned, his handsome face troubled. About last night, I know how things must look, but Victoria's just a business associate, nothing more. Of course, Maya said softly, hating how easily the lies came to both of them now. I shouldn't have jumped to conclusions. James smiled, relieved. I knew you'd understand. You always do. He walked over and kissed her cheek. I have to go out of town tomorrow. Business meetings in Boston. I'll be back for the weekend. Maya nodded, knowing he was really meeting Victoria at her beach house in the Hamptons. Sarah's photos would prove that too. Have a safe trip. After James left, Maya looked at her painting again. The woman's face, once sad and resigned, now showed something different. Determination, maybe even a hint of triumph. In 3 days, that woman wouldn't just have a key to her cage. She'd have the power to destroy the man who put her there. The next morning, Maya sat in Rachel Martinez's office at the Daily Observer, her hands wrapped around a cup of coffee that had long gone cold. For 2 hours, she'd been telling her story, watching Rachel's recorder capture every painful detail. Let's talk about when things started to change, Rachel said gently. When did you first notice James pulling away? Maya closed her eyes, remembering. It was at the Morrison charity ball, about 2 years ago. James had just closed his first major development deal. We were celebrating, and one of his new investors made a comment about being surprised by me. Surprised how? He said James didn't seem the type to marry someone like me, called our marriage exotic. Maya's hands tightened around the cup. Instead of defending me, James changed the subject. After that night, the invitations to events started coming just in his name. Rachel leaned forward. And Victoria Carlyle, when did she enter the picture? 8 months ago. James hired her as the company's new marketing director, said her family connections would help the business. Maya laughed bitterly. I guess that's one way to put it. As they talked, Rachel's phone buzzed repeatedly with messages. Finally, she checked it and her eyes widened. Maya, you need to see this. She turned her computer screen around. On the screen was a gossip website. The headline read, Sterling Carlyle engagement rumors swirl. Has NYC's most eligible bachelor found his match? Maya felt the room spin. Bachelor? I'm his wife. Rachel quickly scrolled through the article. According to this, Victoria has been telling people that you and James are quietly divorcing, that he's planning to announce it after the gala. Maya pulled out her phone and called Elizabeth Peterson. I already saw it, Elizabeth said when she answered. James is moving faster than we expected. He's laying the groundwork to paint you as the bitter ex-wife when our story breaks. Can he do that? We're still married. He's trying to control the narrative, Rachel said, already typing. This actually helps us, shows premeditation. Maya's phone buzzed with another call. James. She showed the screen to Rachel. Answer it, Rachel said, hitting record on her device. Let's hear what he has to say. Maya took a deep breath and answered. Hello, James. Maya, don't look at any news sites today, James said quickly. There's a ridiculous rumor going around. You mean the one about you and Victoria getting engaged? While you're still married? To me, it's not what you think. Victoria's father got carried away at a business dinner, started talking about wedding plans. The press twisted it. Maya thought about the photos Sarah had taken, about the documents showing James's financial crimes. And what about the part where we're quietly divorcing? A long pause. Maya, we need to talk about this in person. I'm cutting my trip short. I'll be home tonight. No need, Maya said, surprising herself with how steady her voice was. I think everything's pretty clear. Don't do anything stupid, James warned, his voice turning cold. Remember who you're dealing with. Oh, I remember exactly who I'm dealing with. Goodbye, James. After she hung up, Rachel was practically vibrating with excitement. This is perfect for the story. Shows his pattern of manipulation. Maya's phone buzzed again. A text from Victoria herself. We should talk. Woman to woman. Meet me for lunch? She showed it to Rachel, who grinned. Oh, this is too good. We have to record that conversation. An hour later, Maya walked into Le Cirque, where Victoria was already waiting at a corner table. She looked exactly like the society princess she was. Blonde, perfectly groomed, dripping in designer labels. Maya, darling. Victoria air-kissed, her cheek as if they were old friends. Thank you for coming. Maya sat down, acutely aware of the small recording device in her purse. Hard to resist such an invitation. Victoria sipped her wine, studying Maya over the rim of her glass. I suppose you've seen the news about my husband's engagement while he's still married to me. Yes, I saw that. Oh, don't be dramatic. We both know this marriage of yours was always going to have an expiration date. Victoria's smile was pure poison. James needs someone who understands his world, someone who can help him climb higher, not hold him back. Maya felt her anger rise but kept her voice level. And you think that's you? I know it is. My family's connections, my understanding of society. I can open doors that will always be closed to someone like you. Someone like me. Victoria waved her hand dismissively. Don't play the race card, Maya. This isn't about that. It's about class, about understanding how this world works. The world of lying and stealing. Maya watched Victoria's smile falter. Or did James not tell you about the missing millions? Victoria leaned forward, her voice dropping. Be very careful, Maya. James is willing to be generous in the divorce. Don't ruin it by making accusations you can't prove. Who says I can't prove them? For the first time, uncertainty flickered across Victoria's perfect features. What are you talking about? Maya stood up, placing her napkin on the table. You'll find out soon enough. Oh, and Victoria, that Cartier bracelet you're wearing. James bought me the exact same one for our 3rd anniversary. He always did lack originality. She walked out of the restaurant, her heart pounding, but her head high. Outside, Rachel was waiting in her car. Did you get it? The reporter asked eagerly. Maya pulled out the recording device. Every word. This is gold, Rachel said, listening to the playback. The society princess threatening the wronged wife. Readers will eat it up. Maya's phone buzzed again, Elizabeth this time. Emergency meeting. My office. Now. When they arrived at Elizabeth's office, Sarah and David Chen were already there. David's usually calm face was flushed with excitement. I found it, he said as soon as Maya walked in. The real reason James is rushing this Peterson deal. He spread papers across Elizabeth's desk. He's broke. The offshore accounts are empty. He's been using investor money to keep up appearances, but he's leveraged to the hilt. Elizabeth picked up one of the documents. The Peterson money isn't for expansion. It's to cover the holes in his finances before anyone notices. And Victoria? Maya asked. Her family's old money is mostly gone too, Sarah added. They need this marriage as much as James does. It's all about appearances. Maya sank into a chair. So, everything, our whole life, was built on lies? Yes, Elizabeth said firmly. But now we can prove it. The affair, the fraud, all of it. Rachel was already working on her laptop. The story drops the morning of the gala. By the time James realizes what's happening, it'll be too late. He'll try to stop it, Maya said. Let him try. Elizabeth's smile was fierce. Every major news outlet in the city will have it. Once it starts, not even James Sterling can stop it. Maya looked around at her unlikely team. The society matron, the determined reporter, the loyal best friend, the quiet accountant, all of them ready to help her bring down the man who had betrayed them all. 2 days, she said softly. In 2 days, everyone will know the truth. What she didn't know was that at that very moment, James was in his office looking at a photo on his phone, a picture someone had taken of Maya entering Elizabeth Peterson's building. His face was dark with rage as he made a call. She's planning something, he said when the other person answered. We need to move fast, yes, even if it means destroying her first. Maya woke up to the sound of voices downstairs. It was barely 6 a.m., but she could hear James talking to someone in his home office. Carefully, she crept down the hallway and stood near the partially open door. I don't care what it costs, James was saying. I want to know everyone she's been meeting with. Everyone. Sir, we've confirmed meetings with Elizabeth Peterson, Rachel Martinez from the Daily Observer, and several others. The voice belonged to someone Maya didn't recognize. They appear to be gathering information. Then gather better information. James slammed something on his desk. I've worked too hard to let her ruin everything. Maya backed away, quietly, and returned to her room. Her hands shook as she called Elizabeth. He knows something's happening, Maya whispered into the phone. He's got people following me. Expected, Elizabeth replied calmly. But he doesn't know what we have. Stay calm. Act normal. Before Maya could respond, she heard James's footsteps in the hallway. I have to go. James opened the bedroom door, looking perfectly put together in his expensive suit. Only the tightness around his eyes betrayed his tension. Good morning, darling, he said, his voice artificially pleasant. Sleep well? Fine, Maya replied, matching his fake smile. Early meeting. Just some business calls. He walked to her side of the bed. I thought we could have dinner tonight, talk about everything that's been happening. Maya's heart raced, but she kept her voice steady. I'd like that. Perfect. I'll send a car for you at 7. He kissed her cheek, his lips cold. Wear something nice. After James left, Maya immediately called Sarah. He's planning something. I can feel it. Of course he is, Sarah said. But so are we. Get over to Rachel's office now. There's something you need to see. At the Daily Observer, Rachel's office was buzzing with activity. The reporter was surrounded by papers and photographs, her face glowing with excitement. Look what just came in, she said, handing Maya a thick envelope. Anonymous. Source. Records of every meeting James has had with Victoria at the plaza, including room charges. Maya flipped through the hotel receipts, room service bills, and security camera stills. How did you get these? Let's just say James isn't as popular with his staff as he thinks he is. Rachel grinned. The hotel's head of security was more than happy to help after James tried to have him fired for asking questions about Victoria's late-night visits. Maya's phone buzzed. A text from Maria, their housekeeper. Mrs. Sterling, men are here going through your studio. Mr. Sterling sent them. He's searching my studio. Maya showed them the message. The documents, Sarah gasped. Did you leave anything there? No, everything important is with David. Maya started pacing. But my paintings, already taken care of, Elizabeth said, walking into the office. I sent a team to your gallery this morning. All your work has been moved to a secure location. How did you know? Because I know James Sterling. He's going to try to destroy everything you love before you can hurt him. Elizabeth sat down looking grimly satisfied. But we're one step ahead. Rachel's phone rang. She answered, listened for a moment, then turned pale. Turn on the TV, now. They switched on the office TV just in time to see James at a press conference, his arm around Victoria. My wife Maya and I have been separated for months, he was saying, his face a mask of practiced sadness. We tried to keep it private, but recent events have forced us to be public. While I care for Maya deeply, her increasing instability and paranoid accusations have made it impossible to continue our marriage. Maya felt the room spin as James continued. Victoria has been a tremendous support during this difficult time. While the timing of our relationship is unfortunate, sometimes the heart knows what it needs. That lying bastard, Sarah exploded. Wait, Rachel held up her hand. There's more. On screen, a reporter asked, Mr. Sterling, what about the rumors of financial irregularities in your company? James's face hardened slightly. Those accusations come from my wife's unfortunate mental state. Her jealousy has led her to make baseless claims. My investors have full confidence in me, as evidenced by the Peterson Group's upcoming investment. Elizabeth was already on her phone. David, move everything forward. We release tonight, not tomorrow. She turned to Maya. He's trying to discredit you before our story breaks. But the gala, Maya started, will still happen. But now you'll walk in there with the whole city already talking about James's lies. Elizabeth's smile was ruthless. He just made our story even bigger. Maya's phone buzzed again. Another text from James. Still on for dinner? We have so much to discuss. He wants me to play along, Maya realized. Probably planning to have doctors there, trying to make me look unstable. Then let's give him a show, Rachel said. But first, we need to record a video interview. Your response to his claims in your own words. For the next hour, Maya sat in front of Rachel's camera, telling her story calmly and clearly. No anger, no hysteria, just the truth about James's betrayals, backed up by evidence. Perfect, Rachel said when they finished. This will run right after we break the main story. No one will believe his unstable wife narrative once they see this. Maya's phone kept buzzing with messages from friends and acquaintances, some offering support, others clearly believing James's version. She ignored them all. "What about the Peterson deal?" she asked Elizabeth. "Oh, that's the best part." Elizabeth pulled out her phone and played a recording. It was James, clearly drunk, bragging to Victoria about how he was going to use the Peterson money to pay off his debts and move their fortune offshore. "Where did you get that?" "Victoria's driver. Turns out James isn't the only one who can hire people to gather information." Elizabeth looked pleased. "The driver's been recording their conversations for months, hoping for a big payday. We gave him one." Sarah, who had been quiet for a while, suddenly spoke up. "Maya, look at this." She handed over her phone, showing a social media post from Victoria. "Finally, the truth comes out. My heart breaks for James, dealing with such a difficult situation. Some people just can't handle seeing their ex moving on." Maya felt a cold anger replace her shock. "She's really going to play this game?" "Let her," Rachel said. "Every nasty comment, every smug post, it all just makes our story stronger. The society princess and the cheating husband, trying to destroy the loyal wife who stood by him when he was nothing." Elizabeth checked her watch. "It's almost time for your dinner with James. Are you ready?" Maya stood up, smoothing down her dress. "More than ready. But first, I need to make one stop." "Where?" "My gallery. There's a painting James hasn't seen yet. One I've been working on in secret." Maya's smile was sharp. "I think it's time for its debut." As she left Rachel's office, her phone buzzed one last time. A message from an unknown number. "Mrs. Sterling, this is Thomas from the Plaza Security. Just wanted you to know. Mr. Sterling and Miss Carlyle are meeting in the presidential suite right now. We have it all on camera, as requested." Maya forwarded the message to Rachel, then turned her phone off. In a few hours, she would sit across from James, pretending to listen to his lies while knowing that her team was preparing to destroy everything he had built on betrayal and deceit. The storm was about to break, and James Sterling would never see it coming. The private dining room at Le Bernardin was empty, except for James and a distinguished-looking older man when Maya arrived. James stood up, playing the role of concerned husband perfectly. "Maya, darling," he said, moving to kiss her cheek. "I'd like you to meet Dr. Harrison. He's a friend who's concerned about your well-being." Maya looked at the doctor, then back at James. So this was his game, trying to make her look unstable in front of a witness. "How thoughtful of you," she said, taking her seat. "Though I don't remember being unstable when you were meeting Victoria at the plaza this afternoon." James's smile flickered for just a second. "Maya, this is exactly what Dr. Harrison and I wanted to discuss. These paranoid fantasies about Victoria." "Paranoid?" Maya pulled out her phone and placed it on the table. "Is that what we're calling security camera footage now?" Dr. Harrison cleared his throat. "Mrs. Sterling, your husband is very worried about your recent behavior. These accusations, the meetings with reporters—" "Oh, you know about those," Maya smiled. "Then you must know about the offshore accounts too, and the missing investor money. Tell me, Doctor, did James mention those during your little prep session?" "That's enough," James snapped, then quickly composed himself. "You see, Doctor, these delusional accusations—" "Would you like to see the bank records?" Maya asked calmly. "Or should we start with the hotel receipts? The plaza keeps very detailed records, you know." Dr. Harrison looked uncomfortable. "Mr. Sterling, you assured me this was a simple case of—" "It is," James cut in. "My wife is clearly suffering from some sort of breakdown. The stress of our separation—" "What separation?" Maya's voice was steel. "The one you announced to the press today, without telling me. Or the one you've been planning with Victoria while embezzling money from your investors." James's face darkened. "Maya, think very carefully about what you're doing. You're playing a game you can't win." "No, James. You're the one who's been playing games." She turned to Dr. Harrison. "Doctor, did my husband tell you he's meeting Victoria's father tomorrow to discuss using the Peterson Group investment to cover his missing millions?" The doctor stood up abruptly. "I think I should leave." "Please do," Maya said. "And doctor, when the story breaks tomorrow, remember that James tried to use you to discredit his wife. I'm sure the medical board will be interested." After the doctor practically ran from the room, James leaned forward, his handsome face ugly with anger. "You stupid woman," he hissed. "Do you have any idea what I can do to you?" "No, James. Do you have any idea what I can do to you?" Maya pulled out a small recorder. "By the way, I've been recording since I walked in. Want to threaten me again for the record?" James lunged for the recorder, but Maya was faster. pulling it away. "Careful," she warned. "The restaurant's security cameras are watching. Wouldn't want to add a salt to your growing list of problems." "You're bluffing," James said, but his voice wasn't as certain. "You've got nothing." Maya stood up, smoothing her dress. "Check your phone, darling. The story just broke." James grabbed his phone, his face going pale as he scrolled through message after message. Maya watched as the realization hit him. It was all falling apart. "You can't prove any of this," he said desperately. "The offshore account records say otherwise. So do the witnesses. Victoria's driver was particularly helpful. Apparently you talk a lot in the back of cars." James's phone started ringing, probably his lawyer's, but before he could answer, Maya had one last thing to say. "Oh, and James, remember that painting you couldn't find in my studio today, the one I've been working on in secret?" She pulled out her phone and showed him the image, a portrait of him and Victoria at the plaza, caught in an intimate moment. "It's being unveiled at the Sterling Gallery tomorrow. I call it The Betrayal. Your society friends should love it." James's face went from pale to red. "I'll destroy you." "No, James, I'm already destroyed. You saw to that years ago." Maya walked to the door, then turned back. "The difference is I rebuilt myself. After tomorrow, there won't be anything left of you to rebuild." Outside the restaurant, Sarah was waiting in her car. "How did it go?" Maya got in, finally letting her hands shake. "Exactly as planned. Is everything ready for tomorrow?" Sarah nodded. "Rachel's story is exploding online. Elizabeth's already gotten calls from 3 other investors wanting to check their accounts. And Victoria," she grinned. "Well, let's just say her father just found out about the missing millions. He's not happy." Maya's phone buzzed with a text from Elizabeth. "James is trying to call an emergency board meeting tomorrow morning. Too late. The major shareholders have already suspended his voting rights pending investigation." Another text came in, this one from Rachel. "Story's been picked up by national news. Your video interview is trending. You need to see these comments. People are calling you a hero." Maya looked out the window at the city lights. "Take me to the gallery, Sarah. I need to make sure everything's ready for tomorrow." "The painting? And something else?" Maya smiled. "I think it's time to show the world what else I've been working on." At the gallery, Maya walked through the empty rooms, now filled with her new collection. Each painting told a story, not just of betrayal, but of survival, of a woman finding her voice, her strength. The centerpiece was the portrait of James and Victoria, but around it were other works. The woman in the golden cage, now free and soaring. A series of paintings showing a metamorphosis from shadows to light. "It's beautiful," Sarah whispered, looking around. "When did you do all this?" "All those nights alone," Maya answered. "While James was with Victoria, I was here, creating, healing, planning." Her phone buzzed again. Victoria this time. "You bitch! You've ruined everything." Maya showed the message to Sarah, who laughed. Should we tell her about the recording of her conversation with James about defrauding her own father? Let her wait for tomorrow's headlines. Maya walked to the gallery window, looking at her reflection. She hardly recognized herself, this strong, determined woman who had finally stopped dimming her light. The sound of breaking glass shattered the moment. They turned to see James standing in the doorway, drunk and dangerous. "You think you can humiliate me?" he shouted. "I made you. You're nothing without me." Sarah reached for her phone to call security, but Maya held up her hand. "No," she said calmly. "Let him talk. The security cameras are rolling, and tomorrow's headlines just got even better." James stumbled into the gallery, his expensive suit rumpled, his eyes wild. The James Sterling that New York society knew, polished, controlled, powerful, was gone, replaced by a desperate man watching his world crumble. "You want to know what you are?" he shouted, pointing at Maya. "A charity case. I saw you at that little gallery in Brooklyn. Thought it would make me look good to help the struggling minority artist." Maya stood her ground, aware of Sarah recording everything on her phone. "Is that why you married me, James? To look good?" "I married you because you were different, because you didn't care about money or status." He knocked over a pedestal, sending a small sculpture crashing to the floor. "Then you got greedy just like everyone else." "Greedy?" Maya's laugh was bitter. "I supported you when you had nothing, believed in you when no one else would. The only thing I wanted was your love and respect." "Respect?" James spat the word. "You want respect? Look at these paintings." He gestured wildly at the artwork surrounding them. "Airing our dirty laundry in public, making me look like a fool. You did that all on your own. Sarah cut in, still filming. "The affairs, the stolen money, the lies." James spun toward her. "Shut up. You're just jealous because your father was too stupid to protect his investment." "Don't you dare talk about my father." Sarah's voice shook with anger. "He trusted you. Everyone trusted you." Maya moved between them. "This is between us, James. Leave Sarah out of it." "No, this is between me and everyone who's trying to destroy what I built." James grabbed one of Maya's paintings. The woman in the golden cage. "You think this is art? This is revenge." "Put the painting down, James," Maya said quietly. "You don't want to add destruction of property to your charges." "Charges?" James laughed maniacally. "You think I'm going to jail? I still have friends, Maya. Powerful friends." "Not anymore." Elizabeth Peterson's voice cut through the gallery. She stood in the doorway, flanked by 2 security guards. "Step away from the artwork, James." James's face contorted with rage. This is all your fault. You turned my wife against me." "No, you did that yourself." Elizabeth nodded to the guards. "Get him out of here." As the guards moved forward, James grabbed a bottle of paint thinner from a nearby supply cart and splashed it toward Maya's paintings. "If I'm going down, I'm taking your precious art with me." "No!" Maya screamed, but before James could light the match he was holding, one of the guards tackled him to the ground. The other guard quickly cuffed James while Elizabeth called the police. Sarah was still filming as James thrashed and shouted threats. "You're all going to pay for this. I'll destroy everything you love. You hear me, Maya? Everything." Maya watched as the police arrived and took James away, charging him with attempted arson and destruction of property. His screams echoed through the gallery until finally silence fell. "Are you okay?" Sarah asked, hugging her friend. Maya nodded, looking at the painting James had tried to destroy. He never understood. Art isn't about revenge. It's about truth. Elizabeth walked over, her face grim. "The stories everywhere. Stock prices are falling. The board has called an emergency meeting for first thing tomorrow." "What about Victoria?" Sarah asked. "She's fled to her family's house in the Hamptons," Elizabeth replied. "After the recording of her plotting with James to defraud her father came out, she's not exactly welcome in the city." Maya's phone buzzed, Rachel calling. "Maya, turn on NY1 now." They huddled around Sarah's phone to watch the news. Victoria's father, Richard Carlyle, was giving a press conference. "I am shocked and appalled by the actions of James T.E. Sterling," he was saying. "Rest assured, the Carlyle family had no knowledge of his financial misconduct. We stand with his other investors in demanding a full investigation." "Throwing him under the bus already," Elizabeth said with satisfaction. "Typical." Another news alert popped up. Photos of James being led out of the gallery in handcuffs were spreading across social media. The mighty James Sterling, brought low in his rumpled designer suit, rage distorting his handsome face. "The gala's still on for tomorrow night," Elizabeth said. "The board insisted. They want to show stability during the crisis." Maya looked at her ruined gallery, at the paintings that told her story of pain and redemption. "Then that's where this ends, in front of everyone." Sarah squeezed her hand. "Are you ready for that?" "I've been ready since the day he started hiding me away." Maya walked to her self-portrait, the one she'd painted after discovering James's affair. In it, she stood tall, unbowed, her face full of quiet strength. "It's time to step into the light." Her phone buzzed again, a text from Maria, their housekeeper. "Mrs. Sterling, Miss Victoria was here." She took some papers from Mr. Sterling's office. Elizabeth read the message over Maya's shoulder. What kind of papers? The kind that could destroy more than just James, Maya realized. The kind that could bring down half of New York's elite. "The real records," Elizabeth breathed. "James always kept hard copies, old school. And now Victoria has them." Sarah was already dialing. "I'll get people on her tail." "No," Maya said thoughtfully. "Let her run. She'll be at the gala tomorrow night." "How do you know?" Elizabeth asked. "Because she's exactly like James. She won't be able to resist one last chance to feel powerful." Maya smiled grimly. "And when she shows up, we'll be ready." Elizabeth finished. "The press will be there, the investors, everyone who matters in New York society. The perfect audience," Sarah added, "for the final act." Maya walked through her gallery, touching each painting gently. The woman in the cage now free. The portraits of betrayal and redemption. The truth she'd painted while James thought she was safely tucked away at home. "Tomorrow," she said softly, "everyone will see everything." Outside, police lights still flashed, and reporters were gathering, drawn by the news of James Sterling's arrest. But inside the gallery, Maya felt calm for the first time in years. Her phone buzzed one last time, a message from Rachel. Just got a tip. Victoria's been spotted buying a ticket to Switzerland, first class, tomorrow night's flight. Running away with the evidence, Elizabeth mused, and probably whatever money she could grab. Maya looked at her friends. Sarah with her unwavering loyalty, Elizabeth with her strategic mind, Rachel fighting for the truth. Together they had brought down the mighty James Sterling. But tomorrow would be about more than just revenge. It would be about justice, about truth, about a woman finally claiming her place in the world. Let's get ready, Maya said, straightening her shoulders. Tomorrow, we end this. As they left the gallery, the lights caught Maya's paintings, making them glow like beacons in the night. Each one a step on her journey, from betrayed wife to triumphant survivor. The woman in the golden cage wasn't just free now. She was soaring. The morning of the gala dawned bright and clear. Maya stood in her closet, running her hand over the dress she'd bought months ago, before she knew about James's betrayal, before everything fell apart. It was a deep red, the color of power and passion. Perfect choice, Sarah said from the doorway. The wronged wife wearing red to her revenge party. Maya smiled. Is everything ready? Rachel's story has gone viral. It's all over the morning shows. Sarah held up her phone, showing clips of news anchors discussing James Sterling's dramatic fall. They released his mugshot an hour ago. The photo showed James looking disheveled and angry, his perfect image shattered. He'd been released on bail late last night, his lawyer making no comment to the press. Victoria's still in the wind, Elizabeth said, walking in with a coffee tray. But her father's cooperating fully with the investigation, trying to save what's left of the family name. Maya sat at her vanity, looking at herself in the mirror. Any word from James? His lawyer sent over divorce papers this morning. Elizabeth's smile was sharp. Along with a very generous settlement offer. He's trying to buy my silence, Maya realized. Even now, he thinks everything has a price. Speaking of price, Sarah cut in, you need to see this. She pulled up an article on her phone. The headline read, Sterling Gallery Group stocks soar after board names Maya Sterling new CEO. Maya blinked in surprise. What? The board voted this morning, Elizabeth explained. With James facing criminal charges and the morality clause in your prenup, control of the galleries falls to you. The market loves it. Your reputation in the art world is spotless. And that's not all, Sarah added excitedly. 3 major museums have called about hosting your new collection. The one about survival and betrayal, they're calling it a powerful statement on women's empowerment. Maya touched her paintings, lined up against the wall. Each one told part of her story, the pain, the awakening, the triumph. Mrs. Sterling? Maria appeared in the doorway. There's someone here to see you. They all turned to see Richard Carlyle, Victoria's father, standing awkwardly in the hallway. The usually imposing man looked tired and defeated. Maya, he said quietly, may I have a moment? Sarah and Elizabeth exchanged looks, but stepped out, leaving Maya alone with him. I owe you an apology, Richard began. I encouraged Victoria's relationship with James, thought it would be good for business. Did you know, Maya asked, about the affair, the stolen money? Richard shook his head. I was blind, wanted to believe my daughter was better than that. He pulled out an envelope. This came to my house this morning from Victoria. Maya opened it carefully. Inside were more documents, proof of James's crimes going back years, bank transfers, offshore accounts, emails discussing fraud. She's running, Richard said heavily. But she wanted me to have proof that she wasn't the mastermind, that James corrupted her. Still trying to play the victim, Maya said softly. Even now. The police have copies, Richard added. And I'm withdrawing from the Peterson deal, all 50 million. Maya looked at the broken man before her. It's not easy, is it? Realizing someone you love isn't who you thought they were. No, Richard agreed. It's not. He turned to leave, then stopped. I'll be at the gala tonight, making a public statement about cutting all ties with Sterling Enterprises. After he left, Sarah and Elizabeth rushed back in. What did he want? Sarah demanded. Maya showed them the documents. To choose a side, the winning side, Elizabeth examined the papers. This is everything we needed. Proof of every crime, every lie. And just in time for the gala, Sarah added. Maya's phone buzzed, a text from James. We need to talk, please, I can explain everything. As she stared at the message, another one came in from an unknown number. Your husband ruined my life too. There are more of us. We'll be at the gala tonight, ready to tell our stories. The floodgates are opening, Elizabeth said, reading over Maya's shoulder. Everyone James ever hurt is coming forward. Maya walked to her window, looking out at the city. Somewhere out there, James was probably plotting, thinking he could still fix this. Victoria was preparing to flee the country. And all over New York, people were reading about their crimes, their betrayals. "What time is hair and makeup coming?" she asked. 2 hours, Sarah replied. "But first, you need to see this." She led Maya to the living room, where the TV was playing footage from outside the Sterling building. Protesters held signs reading, "Justice for Maya and Stop Corporate Greed." "They're calling you a symbol," Sarah said proudly. "A woman who stood up to power and won." Maya watched the crowd, remembering how alone she'd felt just days ago. Now she had an army behind her. Her phone buzzed again, Rachel this time. "You won't believe who just agreed to be interviewed." James's first wife. Maya's eyes widened. James had always claimed he'd never been married before her. "Another lie," she said quietly. "Another weapon," Elizabeth corrected. "For tonight." Sarah squeezed her hand. "Are you ready for this? It's going to be intense." Maya looked at her reflection in the window. The woman who stared back wasn't the same one who had discovered her husband's betrayal all those months ago. This woman was stronger, wiser, unafraid. "I'm ready," she said, "but first there's something I need to do." She walked to her studio, where one last painting stood covered. She pulled off the sheet, revealing a massive canvas. It showed a woman, clearly Maya, standing in a grand ballroom. Around her, society figures wore masks that were cracking, revealing their true faces underneath. And in the center, a man and woman, James and Victoria, caught in a spotlight of truth. "Is that?" Sarah started. "Tonight," Maya finished. "I painted it weeks ago, knowing this day would come." Elizabeth studied the painting. "Where do you want it?" "The main entrance of the gala," Maya said, "where everyone will have to see it." Her phone buzzed one final time. A message from the gala committee. "Mrs. Sterling, as major shareholder and new CEO of Sterling Galleries, would you like to make the opening speech tonight?" Maya smiled. "Tell them yes. I have quite a lot to say." As her friends began preparing for the evening, Maya stood in her studio, surrounded by her art, her truth. In 12 hours, she would walk into that ballroom and face the society that had tried to silence her. But she wouldn't be walking in alone. She would be walking in with an army of truth-tellers behind her, with evidence in her hands, and with the strength of a woman who had turned her pain into power. The calm was ending. The storm was about to begin. The Plaza Hotel's grand ballroom glittered with crystal chandeliers and New York society's finest. Maya stood in the entrance, her red dress drawing every eye, her painting of the cracking masks prominently displayed behind her. "Ready?" Sarah whispered, standing beside her in elegant black. Before Maya could answer, a murmur swept through the crowd. Victoria Carlyle had just walked in, wearing white as if she were the innocent party. She froze when she saw Maya, then quickly tried to turn around. "Not so fast," Elizabeth said, suddenly blocking her path. 2 police detectives stood with her. "Victoria Carlyle, you're wanted for questioning regarding the missing documents from Sterling Enterprises." Victoria's perfect face crumpled. "You can't prove anything. Your plane ticket to Switzerland says otherwise," one of the detectives said, taking her arm, "along with the wire transfers to your Swiss bank account." As Victoria was led away, Rachel appeared at Maya's side. "James just pulled up, and wait until you see who he brought with him." Moments later, James strode in, looking impeccable in his tuxedo. On his arm was an elegant older woman Maya had never seen before. "Is that?" Sarah started. "His first wife," Rachel confirmed. "Charlotte Burke, the one he claimed never existed." The crowd parted as James approached Maya, his face a mask of confidence. "Maya, darling, you're making a scene." "No, James, I'm making history." Maya's voice carried through the suddenly silent ballroom. "Would you like to introduce your guest, or should I?" James's smile faltered. "This is Charlotte Burke Sterling," the woman cut in, stepping away from James. "His first wife, the one he bankrupted and abandoned 20 years ago." Gasps rippled through the crowd. James grabbed Charlotte's arm. "We had an agreement." "The agreement was I'd help you save face," Charlotte said coldly. "But that was before I read about what you did to Maya. Some patterns never change, do they?" "James?" Maya stepped forward. "Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sterling Foundation Gala, though I suppose we should call it the Maya Sterling Foundation now, since I own controlling interest in all Sterling properties as of this morning. James's face reddened. You can't. Actually, she can, Elizabeth interrupted, walking up with a thick folder. The morality clause in her prenup is quite clear, and with today's board vote making her CEO of Sterling Galleries, this is ridiculous, James exploded. I built this company with stolen money. Richard Carlyle's voice boomed through the ballroom. He stepped forward, holding up more documents. Money you stole from me, from the Chens, from every investor who trusted you. And now my daughter's going to jail because of you, he continued. She just signed a full confession, James, turning state's evidence to save herself. James looked around wildly, seeing nothing but hostile faces. These are all lies. Maya's trying to destroy me because she's jealous. Is this a lie? Maya pressed a button, and the ballroom screens lit up with security footage from the plaza. James and Victoria in intimate moments, James bragging about his fraud, Victoria plotting to help him steal the Peterson investment. Or this. Another screen showed photos of bank statements, offshore accounts, falsified documents. Or maybe this. The final screen showed footage from the gallery the night before. James's drunken rampage, his threats, his attempt to destroy Maya's art. The crowd watched in shocked silence as James Sterling's carefully constructed world crumbled on screen. You think this changes anything? James snarled, his handsome face twisted with rage. I still have friends in high places. Do you? Charlotte asked softly. Look around, James. Really look. One by one, the society figures James had cultivated turned their backs on him. The police commissioner he'd bragged about playing golf with was speaking quietly into his phone. The mayor's wife was already heading for the exit. It's over, James, Maya said quietly. The truth is out. All of it. You did this, he whispered, stepping toward her menacingly. You ungrateful. Before he could finish, Sarah's father stepped between them. That's enough, James. You've hurt enough people. Security guards appeared, surrounding James. Sir, please come with us. Get your hands off me. Do you know who I am? A fraud, Elizabeth said clearly. A thief. A man who betrayed everyone who ever loved him. As James was led away, still shouting threats, Maya walked to the podium. The room fell silent, hundreds of eyes watching her. I could have stayed. Quiet, she began. Could have taken the settlement he offered this morning and disappeared. But this isn't just about me anymore. She gestured to the crowd. It's about every person he betrayed, every investor he stole from, every woman he used and discarded. Charlotte stepped forward. 20 years ago, I was too afraid to fight back, too ashamed to tell my story. Maya gave me the courage to finally speak up. And now, Maya continued, we're going to use the Sterling Foundation for what it should have been all along. A force for good, for truth, for justice. The ballroom erupted in applause. Reporters scribbled frantically in notebooks. Cameras flashed. Out in the lobby, the police were leading Victoria away in handcuffs. Her white dress, a stark contrast to the steel around her wrists. And James. James stood alone by the entrance, watching as his empire crumbled, as his wife became the hero of his destruction. Maya's phone buzzed one last time, a message from Maria. The police are at the house, Mrs. Sterling. They found everything Mr. James tried to hide in the safe. Everything. Sarah squeezed her hand. It's really over. Maya looked around the ballroom, at Charlotte finding her voice after 20 years, at Richard Carlyle facing his daughter's crimes with dignity, at all the people finally free to tell their stories. No, she said softly, it's just beginning. Above them all, her painting watched over the scene, the masks cracking, the truth emerging, and at the center a woman standing tall in red, no longer afraid of her own power. The storm hadn't just broken, it had washed everything clean. 1 year later, Maya stood in her expanded gallery, now the flagship of the Sterling Arts Foundation. The space was filled with people attending the opening of her new exhibition, Truth and Transformation. Hard to believe it's been a year, Sarah said, joining her friend. Since the night everything changed. Maya smiled, watching the crowd admire her paintings. The infamous portrait of James and Victoria that had started it all hung in a corner, now more of a historical piece than a weapon. Have you seen the morning news? Elizabeth asked, walking up with a tablet. James's sentencing is official. 15 years for fraud, embezzlement, and financial crimes. Maya nodded. She'd chosen not to attend the sentencing, having said everything she needed to say in her victim impact statement months ago. And Victoria? She asked. 5 years, Sarah replied. Her cooperation helped reduce the sentence. Her father's still. Trying to rebuild the family name. Richard Carlyle had become an unlikely ally in the past year, investing heavily in Maya's foundation for artists from underprivileged backgrounds. His way of making amends, he'd said. Mrs. Sterling. Maria, no longer just a housekeeper, but now the foundation's office manager, approached with a letter. This came for you. Maya recognized the handwriting immediately. Charlotte, James's first wife. They'd grown close over the past year, sharing their stories of survival. She's opening her own gallery in Boston, Maya told her friends as she read the letter. Says she's finally ready to pursue the dreams James made her give up. Speaking of dreams, Elizabeth said with a smile, wait until you see this. She handed Maya a magazine, Forbes, with Maya's picture on the cover. The headline read, Maya Sterling, How One Woman's Stand for Truth Changed the Art World. The reporters here somewhere, Sarah added, along with about a dozen others. Everyone wants to know what's next for the woman who took down James Sterling. Maya looked around her gallery, remembering the night a year ago when James had tried to destroy her art in a drunken rage. Now the space was transformed, filled with light and truth and hope. Her phone buzzed. A text from Rachel. Turn on NY1 now. They huddled around Elizabeth's tablet to watch Victoria Carlyle's first interview from prison. The former socialite looked pale and thin in her prison uniform. I was blinded by ambition, Victoria was saying. James Sterling made me believe I could have everything I wanted if I just helped him hurt enough people. I've lost everything because of that choice, but at least now I'm telling the truth. Too little, too late, Sarah muttered. At least she's admitting it, Maya said softly. That's more than James ever did. The gallery doors opened and Charlotte walked in, elegant as ever. Sorry I'm late. The Boston gallery renovations took longer than expected. She hugged Maya warmly. I saw James yesterday, she said quietly. At the sentencing. How was he? Broken. Finally broken. Charlotte looked around at the crowded gallery. But look what rose from his ashes. Maya's new collection told the story of the past year, not just her own journey, but the stories of everyone affected by James's crimes. Each painting captured a moment of truth, of healing, of justice. The centerpiece was no longer the portrait of betrayal. Now it was a massive canvas showing a phoenix rising from flames, its wings made of broken chains and shattered masks. Maya? Maria called out. The reporters are ready for your speech. Maya took a deep breath, remembering another speech a year ago, in a glittering ballroom where she'd exposed James's crimes to the world. Thank you all for coming, she began, facing the crowd. A year ago, I stood in another room full of people and told a story of betrayal. Today, I want to tell a different story. A story of healing. She gestured to the paintings around them. These works aren't just about exposing lies anymore. They're about what happens after the truth comes out, about how we rebuild ourselves from betrayal, how we turn pain into power. The reporters scribbled frantically as Maya continued. The Sterling Arts Foundation isn't just a gallery anymore. It's a place where artists can tell their truth without fear, where survivors of all kinds of betrayal can find their voice. She smiled at Charlotte, at Elizabeth, at Sarah, the women who had stood by her through everything. Someone once told me that I was nothing without James Sterling, she said. But the truth is, I never knew who I really was until I lost everything I thought mattered, until I had to rebuild myself from scratch. Her phone buzzed one last time. A message from an unknown number. Mrs. Sterling, this is James's cell block guard. He has your Forbes magazine cover posted in his cell. Stares at it for hours. Thought you should know. Maya showed the message to her friends who exchanged knowing looks. The ultimate revenge, Sarah said. Success, not revenge, Maya corrected. Justice, truth, freedom. She looked around at her gallery, at the art that had saved her, at the truth that had set her free, at the legacy she was building from the ashes of betrayal. The reporters raised their hands, eager for questions, but Maya had one last thing to say. A year ago, I was a woman trapped in a golden cage, afraid to use my voice. Today, I stand before you not as James Sterling's betrayed wife, but as Maya Sterling, artist, survivor, truth-teller. She pointed to the Phoenix painting. That's my truth, that's my story, and I'm just getting started. The crowd erupted in applause, cameras flashed, but Maya wasn't looking at them anymore. She was looking at her reflection in the gallery window, at the woman she'd become, at the strength she'd found, at the truth she'd finally learned to tell. Behind her, the phoenix spread its wings, rising from the ashes of lies and betrayal, soaring toward a future built on truth. Maya Sterling smiled at her reflection. She was soaring to the end.